Since 2018, the Steelers have been one of the most mediocre teams in the NFL, 9-6-1. 8-8, and 2020 is an odd year, and then they just go on. Never worse than 8-8, never better than 10-7. Like I said, they've been one of the most mediocre teams in the NFL. But I think this year could be different. I think the Steelers could finally prove themselves as one of the better teams in the NFL. Heck, maybe even a Super Bowl contender, maybe not that far, but even if they finish with another 10-7 season, if they make the playoffs, I believe they could have a shot at it. I think they could go on for a little run. Let's take a closer look at this team, but first, let's go over the quarterbacks. After Ben Roethlisberger retired, the Steelers looked for a new franchise quarterback, and in the first round of the 2020 draft, they selected Kenny Pickett, and in his 2 seasons with the Steelers, he was not good. Only a little above 4,000 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions, which that is a horrible touchdown-interception ratio for 2 seasons, and it was clear he was not the future. So after the season ended, the Steelers traded away Kenny Pickett to the Philadelphia Eagles, and that was right after they signed a pretty well-known veteran quarterback. The Steelers would sign former Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson, who had an abysmal 2022 season, but in 2023, he kind of bounced back, 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and while it's not back to his MVP form, he was looking pretty decent, and then Sean Payton stepped in and got all greedy and petty and everything. I think Russell Wilson has a very real shot of maybe not going back to MVP form, but maybe a top 10 quarterback in 2024. Yes, I said it. I genuinely think that. And even if Russell Wilson fails as a starter, they also have backup Justin Fields, who was on the Bears last season, and in his 3rd year in the NFL, he threw for 2,500 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions, and he's mainly a running quarterback, and that doesn't even take in his scrambling stats. So you take that as you will. Even if Russell Wilson fails, I still think Justin Fields can be a solid QB1 for the Steelers. No matter which way they go, they have a pretty good QB room. It's a big upgrade from last year, and even in Big Ben's final years. Alright, now that we have the quarterbacks out of the way, let's go over the rest of the offense, starting with the skill guys. This running back group is amazing. Maybe not amazing, but it's pretty good. Najee Harris in his first 3 seasons has rushed for 1,000 yards in each and every single one of them, and I know they give him the ball a ton. But it's still pretty crazy that he's done that, and I think I saw some stat where he's the first player ever to do that. I might be wrong on that, don't at me on that, but if that is true, that's pretty impressive. You also can't forget about Jaylen Warren, who in 2023 was one of the better running back 2s in the NFL, over 700 yards and 4 touchdowns. Maybe a running back 1 on some other teams. Don't sleep on him either. And of course, you can't forget about Cordell Patterson. Don't say his initials anyway. You can fit him in really anywhere. Kick return, running back, wide receiver, the Falcons. I don't know why he left the Falcons. Maybe they didn't use him well. I know he was really injury prone last season, so hey, don't sleep on Cordell Patterson either if he's healthy. Let's now talk about the Steelers, but before we do that, let's talk about the fact that it's very likely the Steelers can get Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk wants out of San Francisco, and his top destination is in, I almost said San Fran. His top destination is Pittsburgh, so Pittsburgh Steelers, you need to get your hands on Brandon Ayuk. If you don't, that's going to be a major letdown. Less likely, but I still think it's a possibility that if CeeDee Lamb were to request a trade from the Cowboys, I think the Steelers could be a trade candidate. I think they could enter the sweepstakes. I really hope not, because I'm a Cowboys fan, and this would be absolutely devastating. I would probably switch my fandom away, dude. I know I'm too far deep into it. This just sucks overall. I bring this up because it is news, but also it greatly improved their offense. Outside of George Pickens, this is one of the worst receiver groups in the NFL, I'm not gonna lie. But hey, talking about George Pickens himself, he's been phenomenal in his first 2 seasons in the NFL. In fact, I'd go on to say he's been the best wide receiver so far from the 2022 NFL Draft. That George Pickens, Brandon Ayuk duo, that 1-2 punch, would instantly become one of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL. I am interested to see how rookie Roman Wilson does this season, season. He won the national championship at Michigan and was J.J. McCarthy's #1 option, so I'm interested to see how he fits in with the Steelers and if he will be a good NFL player. Ending off the skill guys with the tight ends, we have Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, and Connor Hayward. I expect a lot from Darnell. Well, I mean, not a lot, but I expect him to improve here in year 2. And Pat Freiermuth, he's pretty solid tight end. It's not a bad tight end group. We then have the linemen, where it's been the biggest question mark for the Steelers over the last few years, but I think they are getting better. Tackle Broderick Jones was pretty solid in his rookie season, and they also drafted tackle Troy. I'm not even going to try to say his last name, but he's from Washington. He's going to be a rookie this year. He's supposed to be pretty solid. Besides that, I'm not going to lie, I know none of the other dudes. So if you're a Steelers fan or you're an O-line enthusiast, please let me know. We are now going over to the defensive side of things, and this is where the Steelers' mainstay has been ever since Antonio Brown left the Steelers. We get started with the front three, and the most notable name here is Cameron Hayward. He's been with the Steelers for a long time, and he's performed at a high level for a long time. Larry Ogunjobi, he's okay, and Keanu Bitten, I'm not going to lie, I really have no idea who he is. Steelers fans, let me know who he is. Also, I just realized that Marvin Leal is the third string DT or DN. I remember seeing early 2021, I forgot what year he got drafted, but early mock drafts of that draft, he was supposed to be in the first round. He completely fell off. Let's now talk about the linebackers, which is probably maybe the best part of this defense. Of course, it's headlined by TJ Watt, who won the Defensive Player of the Year in 2021, and honestly should have more. He's been one of the, if not, no, he has been the best defensive player in the NFL for the last few years now, and it's going to stay that way. And also Alex Highsmith, he had a Pro Bowl season, I think, 2 years ago. I don't know if he fell off or not, but I assume he's going to stay in form. And then we have Patrick Queen, who was one of the best linebackers in the NFL last year, and they signed him in free agency to even bulk up this defense even more. There's also rookie Peyton Wilson, who's going to be a second string to start off the year, and I like him as well. He might become one of the best steals from this draft. We now go to the last part of the defense, the secondary, and it's headlined by safety Minkah Fitzpatrick, who was one of the best players at his position in the NFL. And then we have second-year man Joey Porter Jr., who was one of the better defensive players in the NFL in his draft class from last season, and I expect him to take somewhat of a big leap here in 2024. Their other cornerback, Dante Jackson, is one of the more well-established veteran defensive backs in the NFL. They also have Deshaun Elliott, who was on the Dolphins last season. He's alright. The other guy I don't know too much about. I'm sorry, guys. Steelers fans, if you know who this is and I need to be informed about him, let me know in the comments. Now, winning games will not be easy in the AFC North whatsoever. We have the Ravens, who was the best team in the AFC last year, and have MVP Lamar Jackson. You have the Browns, who has one of the best defensive players in the NFL in Myles Garrett, and they made the playoffs last year. And then you also have the Bengals, who is going to have Joe Burrow coming back from injury. He's going to be pretty motivated to do well this season. And, of course, you can't forget they made the Super Bowl 3 years ago, and they have a lot of their key pieces from that team still on the roster. So, yeah, that's it for today's video. Let me know how you think the Steelers are going to do in the comments section below. I think they're going to be a pretty decent team. I think they can make the playoffs for sure. And, yeah, that's about it. Bye.